Alex Vaughn was speaking, I want to share with you some significant developments that are just coming into us related to that collision here, that midair disaster. We have now learned from a source with knowledge of the investigation that 2 black boxes from the regional jet, that American Airlines flight, have been recovered. We've been talking about that operation that's happening in the Potomac River behind us here. We've mentioned that those black boxes are actually orange, but they are those flight data recorders that will hold critical clues to what exactly happened here, that will help investigators understand how this disaster unfolded. You're taking another live look at that operation. Again, a source telling NBC News that 2 of those black boxes have been recovered from the icy water of the Potomac. We are getting our team in front of a camera for more on this. Stick around. We're going to sneak in a very quick break. We'll be right back on the other side. We're actually going to continue with our coverage here as we work, of course, with our correspondents spread out across the area as well. This is coming into us again from our team who covers aviation here for NBC News, who has been working their sources around the clock. Why is this flight data recorder important? Why are these 2 black boxes so important? Because they contain a couple of pieces of information. First, it's the data from the cockpit, things like the altitude, things like the plane's airspeed, critical pieces of information that investigators can use to map out the flight path, the direction, the moment of impact, etc. But here's what those black boxes will also contain, and that is what happened inside the cockpit, the voice, essentially the discussions that may have happened between the crew members in the moments before this collision. That is why it has been such an effort to obtain these black boxes. Now, it does not mean that in 20 minutes from now, in a day from now, this, collision mystery will be solved. That is not the case at all. The NTSB in their briefing earlier today made extremely clear that there is an extended timeline to understand the cause of this collision, to understand exactly what happened here. I want to bring in NBC's aviation producer, Jay Blackman, who has been working this story since the second that it happened. And Jay, we've been talking about this critical piece of information here, the recovery now of these 2 black boxes from the American Airlines flight. Jay, I know you're on the phone joining us now. What else can you tell us?
So, Hallie, they have recovered the 2 black boxes. These black boxes will be robust. They will have a number of parameters that will give investigators a lot of information about what was going on with the plane. They'll want to hear if the pilots were talking about anything or if they had any knowledge of the Black Hawk being in their area. Because this plane crashed in Washington, they're about 1.5 miles from the NTSB labs. I would expect them to have, if the boxes were not damaged because they were in water, and boxes do get damaged in water, but most of the time they work, I would expect them to have information either later tonight or tomorrow, at least preliminary results. As you were referring to earlier, it takes the NTSB up to a year, if not sometimes longer, to come up with a probable cause of an accident.
Jay, can you help us understand what the analysis of these black boxes looks like once it does get to the lab? And speaking generally here.
So the way that they are basically computers. They are connected to computers. They spit out ones and zeros, so it's data, and then the data has to be analyzed and combed through so that they are able to figure out everything from altitude, where they were, what the flaps were doing, what the wings were doing. It will give them a treasure trove of information. Finding black boxes is a critical piece of this investigation.
Jay, to be clear, and I want to make sure that folks at home understand this, there are 2 black boxes recovered, but both of those data recorders are from the American Airlines flight, right, from that regional jet?
That is correct, Hallie. They have not recovered the one from the Black Hawk helicopter.
Got it. Is it typical, and forgive me if you cover this, Jay, it's a little tough to hear when the metro goes past you. Is it typical for a regional jet to have 2 of those black boxes?
It's typical for any commercial aircraft to have 2 black boxes, a cockpit voice recorder and a flight data recorder.
And as you have noted, Jay, they're not actually black. They are orange, right, for visibility purposes in the event of a disaster like this.
Yes, they are orange. They come in orange cases. They have a tracker connected to them called a pinger, which elicits a sound once it's in water, so it helps investigators find them. And
Jay Blackman, our senior producer who covers... Oh, go ahead, Jay.
They're also always in the tail or located in the tail that gives them a better chance of surviving an accident.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.